Well, hello. It's again Wellness Wednesday, and ready or not, here we go. I want to talk about 3 things that help silence that inner critic. So thank you so much for joining me. Let me know on the comments below where you're joining me from. What are you most excited about this topic? And what is it that you want to learn today? So we're gonna be talking about 3 things to help silence that inner critic. And just as a preamp, sometimes we're not ready for things to happen in our life, but we just have to go at it and just do it, right? Sometimes even when we're not so prepared, that is when sometimes magic happens, and just allowing the things to happen and to do the things that we want, that already liberates our brain. So hello, and when you are jumping in, make sure that you say hashtag replay or hashtag live, so I know that you're here and I can comment over your comments once I finish. So hello and welcome. My name is Maaike, and I'm a health and wellness coach, and I bring every time a little topic, a little inspiration that will help you move forward in your life. Maybe a little inspiration to help you feel better today, or something that you can work on with your family members and just create a little spark of life. So that is my intention. And I hope that by the end of this conversation, you will take an aha. And also at the end, feel free to say, hey, Maaike, thank you so much for this. I got this inspiration or this statement or this phrase. Someone in this group this week, I asked, what is it that keeps you awake at night? And that it doesn't let you sleep. And she said motivation. Well, sometimes it's not only motivation, but sometimes we need some inspiration. So here I am to give you some inspiration to live a better life in a better way, in simple ways. So the reason that I wanted to talk about today about the inner critic is because I feel that is one of the hardest things to get rid of. And actually, we don't even know it exists. We have an inner voice. Hi, Joanne. Nice to see you here. So we have that inner voice, and we don't know even what it is or that it exists. And you know what? It's managing our entire life. So who here knows about that inner critic, that inner voice that is in our background? It's in our software, in our brain, that is constantly sending us messages and trying to speak to us. And we can decide whether we listen to it, we ignore it, or we do something about it. So hopefully today you will learn something very simple that you can start doing to manage that inner critic. So we want changes in our life, but then we listen to that inner voice and inner critic and say, it says like, oh, don't do this. This is too scary. Or you don't know what this is going to be leading on you to. Let's say you want to do something different, to have an adventure, to enroll in a program, or to take a vacation, or have a new relationship with someone. But then what happens? That inner critic kicks in, and then what happens? We just freeze, right? Because when we delay our response and our action, when we don't count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we delay that response, then that inner critic jumps in and says, hey, what do you think you're doing? Because what you're doing is scary. It's unknown, and I'm certain about it. So what happens? You start being in freeze mode, right? You feel static. It's like, okay, what do I do? Who do I listen to? Why is this happening to me? So that's where we cannot make progress. We start feeling frustrated because we feel stuck, whether it's something that we want to improve our weight management, for example. You want to start doing a diet or exercising more, or taking care of yourself for better health, and taking new programs instead of just following kind of a doctor's recipe, right? You want to discover something new, but then the inner critic starts kicking in. So how many of you are familiar with this inner voice? Just say me if you're familiar with this inner voice in your head that is in the back of your head. Are you listening to that inner voice? Are you managing how to take care of that inner voice? Well, if you have heard that inner voice and it's present to you, it was very present to me, and actually we can never get rid of it, right? It's our ego, and our ego is trying to keep us safe. So it's a good thing, but what it's not good is how we listen to it and what we do with it. So how many times have you wanted to do something new and you just froze and you stopped? And how many times do you see yourself in the mirror? That was me, for example, when I was in menopause and I had this bulky belly fat. I would look at myself in the mirror and I was criticizing this like no other. What is it with me? I felt so bad, but I was just criticizing that fat belly. And guess what? That only kept it growing, because it was feeling criticized. So I know you're probably going through a hard time right now, and you see yourself in the mirror, or you see yourself with something, or comment on the chat. What is something that you're not happy about in your life right now, that you're tending to criticize, because it's easier to criticize than to take care of it in a different way. So write down in the comments. So you can decide to listen to that voice or not. So just notice when that inner voice is talking. And that is when you start creating awareness. So we are our worst critics. Have you noticed how you listen, how you talk to yourself? So think for a minute. Would you talk to someone else the way you talk, or you allow your inner critic to talk to you? Probably not, right? So I bet you wouldn't, but you are still allowing that inner critic to invade your entire being and manage you and cripple you. Am I right or am I wrong? So this itself, you guys, this itself is so draining. So no wonder why you're feeling so exhausted. This inner critic is running in your background 24/7. And that's why it's the stress, the anxiety, the depression, all those thoughts is our inner critic running 24/7 with never ending. So if you're having trouble with insomnia, or trouble with bloating, or trouble with anxiety and depression and not being able to sleep, it's because your inner critic is always going. So no wonder where you are so tired. And what happens when we are feeling tired? We want some food, right? Some food to lift us up and also to keep us comfort. So we go for comfort food, which is usually carbs and sugars. So we go for that comfort food to, one, raise our energy, two, to numb the pain, because it is painful to listen to that inner critic attacking us all the time. So we want to numb that pain, and we go for food or alcohol or drugs. So hopefully you're not there, but if you are, now you kind of start adding the dots, right? clicking the dots. So the damage that inner critic is doing, then I say that's why there's increase of weight, and we feel even more unhappy with ourselves. So it's like the roller coaster, never-ending story when we're not addressing the mindset, and that is the inner critic. So do you know what other thing happens when we're listening to that inner critic? Have you noticed that when you are not feeling so well with yourself, you're feeling like very tired, your immune system goes down, you start getting sick? Well, there is a reason for that, because one, our cells are not happy. When our cells are not happy, then they're not able to absorb the nutrition well. Everything that you're feeding it is going to waste because it's shut down. It's not open to receive all the nutrients. So the cells in your body are anxious, are stressed, and that lowers the capacity or the capability of the body to heal itself. So when that lowers, then you get sick. And guess what? You get sick because that's the only way that you will take care of yourself and slow down and listen to, and maybe start talking to yourself in a nicer way. So see how everything is related: anxiety, stress, weight, inner critic. So it starts with up here. It starts with what is controlling our body. So when you're sick, that's a good thing, because then you allow your body to rest and you allow yourself to pay attention. So now when you're sick, it's like, notice, it's like, oh, it's kind of a gift, because you cannot do anything else but take care of yourself and pay attention. So do you want to know the good news? That we were the good news, or the thing that you came here today to listen. There are 3 questions that you can start asking to yourself that can help you switch that inner critic to flip it around. You want to know what those are? Are you curious? Are you ready? Say ready in the comments, and let's dig in. So number 1, when that inner voice starts screaming at you, or you start noticing that inner voice, whatever it's saying, just say, hey, thanks for sharing that with me. Whatever thought came, say, thanks for sharing that with me. So that will kind of calm the inner critic, because you're responding to it instead of trying to run away from it. Okay? So that will calm the inner critic, and instead of running away from it, you start creating a conversation, an interaction with it. So just say, thanks for sharing that with me. So write that down so that you remember. You can also ask it, hey, can you repeat that? So when you're paying attention to what that inner critic is trying to tell you, then you create kind of a conversation with it, and you acknowledge it, and then you're able to decide what you want to do with it. So guess what? Instead of the inner critic controlling you, you start managing, and you get your control back. You manage what you want to do with it. Okay? And number 3, ask, are you trying to make me feel bad right now? How awesome is that? So just ask it, are you trying to make me feel bad right now? So now, again, you're in control, and you can choose to say, bye-bye. Thank you for showing up, but no thank you. I'm not choosing to follow what you're trying to do. And if you wrote these 3 actions today, not only will they help you set boundaries for yourself, it will also help you set boundaries with other people. So now I want you to see these 3 questions. Imagine yourself in a situation. Maybe have you had a situation in which have you had a situation in which your child or your spouse or your coworker or someone random says something negative to you? You know what? When people are starting to criticize other people, those people are not happy with themselves. So you take it from someone that is not happy with themselves. They have to do the work, right? So let's go back to this situation of receiving something from the outside. Now it's not from your inside, but something from inside. Imagine, have you had anybody, maybe in your childhood, maybe in your adult life, a thought about something that someone said, maybe a teacher, a parent, a family member, that was really hurtful to you? Just think about that and maybe write a note. Think about that, and now imagine yourself in that situation back then, and go back and say, thanks for sharing that with me. It just gives you peace of mind. And guess what? The other person is like, it doesn't matter if it was in the past and you're not with them anymore, just to have it in your peace of mind will give you the peace of mind that will help you kind of calm you down. So thanks for sharing that with me. Or you can also say, could you repeat that? And just that this will help that interaction feel kind of smoother. And you can also say, as we said before, are you trying to make me feel bad? So in the future, when somebody's saying something to you that is critical to you and it's making you feel bad, then ask, are you trying to make me feel bad? So isn't this amazing? It's like, imagine yourself playing a match of tennis. I don't know if you played tennis or ping pong before, but it takes 2 to tango, right? It takes 2 to play a game. So imagine the ball is an inner critic. So if somebody throws a ball to you, you can decide to not respond, and game over, right? Game over. It's done. But if you're responding to that inner critic, guess what? It goes ping pong, it goes back and forth. And then it's a never-ending story. So just play it safer, you feel good, and then the inner critic is gone. So here's something for you to think. Do you know that critical people have most criticism reserved to themselves? Ouch. So if you're criticizing all the time, think about it of yourself. If you're criticizing, then there's some work that you need to do for yourself. And if somebody else is criticizing, then that person needs to do his work. But it's up to them to do the work. It's not to you, up to you to fix them, right? It's up to them. So just be a mirror and with these questions, and then you send it back to them. Is this making sense? Is this being helpful for you? I know it was helpful for me when I started doing this analysis and learning about it, because it just gives me peace of mind to know that I can manage my life in better ways just with these small actions and ideas that I can take on. And we need to build upon them, right? It's something is new. We have to practice it until we feel better. So are you allowing people to criticize you in your life? Maybe you need to do some work in some boundaries and start taking these 3 tips to help you. So what can you do? What can you do? Be the best you that you can ever be, and do it yourself. And that will help you change your life. So Again, I hope this is helpful. I just wanted to show up for you today with this little single tip. And I want to close again this with be the best you that can ever be. Do it yourself and you will change your life. If you need some inspiration and some help and really doing the work for yourself, I am here for you. And I always like to say that magic starts in the conversation. And when you open up for conversation, I have the link below, or just DM me, or write on the comments, Maaike, I want a conversation. So just write down me if you want a conversation, and let's see where you need some work so that you can feel better with yourself. That is my goal for you, to become the better feeling woman that you could ever become, because only then you will be shining your gifts to others. But the work starts with you. If you're not feeling good, then here is a little homework for you. Just be aware of that inner critic and book that conversation, and we'll make it happen for you. Hope this was helpful for you. Happy Wellness Wednesday, and go out and shine to the world. Thank you so much. I love you. Bye-bye. Till next Wednesday. Ooh, I need to end the recording. Okay, stop. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.